shortages of basic commodities. That's the order of Zimbabwean shops today. There are now various prices for the same good or service based on the mode of payment that the customer is willing to use. The bond price, the EcoCash price, the transfer price, and the US dollar price. The only commodity with a reasonable price in Zimbabwe right now is fuel. But all other goods are now charged at 200% or even more. Does this mean that Zimbabwe is returning to the second phase of 2008 of hyperinflation? We have to understand the basis of the crisis that the economy is going through. For President ED, the bond and the US dollar are 1:1. For Dr. Mangudya, the same exchange rate. And as for the Minister of Finance, he forces himself to accept the fixed exchange rate. In an interview, the Minister of Finance, Professor Mtolengoe, said, "The bond and the US dollar are not equal, hence the bond is the bad money." It shows that the minister wants the bond off the circulation, but Dr. Mangudya and the president think that the bond is here to stay. So, how can we now tangle the two, the bond note and the price hikes? Okay, let me help you understand this situation. The bond note as a fixed currency, it has outweighed its 200 million Afreximbank backup. Because of this situation, it is now not clear how much bond note we have in our economy that is circulating in the market right now. It seems as if we have more bond notes than what we have in the bank as for backup. Alright. The evidence there to explain that bond supply has exceeded the 200 million facility is that prior to the election in 2016 and early 2017, the bond performed better as compared to what the people of Zimbabwe expected when it was introduced. The exchange rate was fixed. There we did not experience any gross challenges. But as the pre-election era comes to dawn, more new $2 notes were seen circulating in the market. Even though they were dated 2016, this boosted the bond supply and weakened its exchange rate, regardless of the fixed exchange rate. The rumor that circulated on social media was that the move to increase money supply was to make sure that there were enough funds to fuel the election campaigns. But as the post-election arrived, the bond was left to float in the basket of currencies. Without backup, the bond was exposed and left to fight for its value. This led to the bond losing value as compared to the US dollar or the South African rand. Now the bond goes $1 is equivalent to 4 bond dollars in the parallel market. The second issue is that the bond is not an internationally recognized currency. That makes it hard for the importing industry to import with the US dollar and sell their goods in bonds. The RBZ also found it so difficult to supply the hardly earned foreign currency to all importers in exchange of the bond. This is because our export industry is so small to equate the forex demand for importation to the forex supply by exports. This difference then leads to the importers demanding the US dollar for their goods, not the bond. To some extent, it can be said that the shortages and price hikes might not be real, but artificial, induced by traders who are defending their stock from the bond. For instance, furniture prices in most retail shops will spill the truth about the case. Given these facts and ceteris paribus, we can say that the bond note is the problem in Zimbabwe right now. But on November 9, the RBZ governor, Dr. John Mangudya, rejected the belief by Zimbabweans that the bond is the problem, saying that the bond is not the problem, but overspending by the government. This aligns to the sentiments by Professor Mtolengoe that the government expenditure is the key problem in Zimbabwe. He did not, however, spell the bond as a problem. However, In his early days prior to assuming the office, Professor Mthuli was recorded in an interview stating that the bond is the problem and has to be addressed by its withdrawal from the basket of currencies flowing in Zimbabwe. Wait a second and ponder. These are two main pillars in the Office of Finance in Zimbabwe that are contradicting on the case of the bond note, but in agreement on government spending. This is the main reason why Zimbabwean politics will make you go haywire. Okay, not including the pre-election spending on chiefs' vehicles and the mass election costs, the government currently is on record of overspending. Okay, let me expand this one. From chartering a plane for the former First Lady, and now, today, the government has bought 40 off-road vehicles for the police, and the government is on record of making several visits to other countries to sign various deals. And can we say that the government is still striving and the government is still living in its old habits of overspending? So basically, the current problems in Zimbabwe that are leading to the spree of price hikes and shortages are basically credited to the bond note and the government expenditure. The bond note is bad money, as reiterated by Professor Mthuli. It is driving away good money, the US dollar. To solve the problem of price hikes, the government should allow the bond to prove its worth in the market by allowing the bond to float and see if it will last a week. If it fails, it has to be done without, because as it stands, some shops, especially the small-scale retailers that are bound in the country and its major cities, they are no longer taking bond notes as currency. Alright, the government should not survive on the hope that the bond will work because they wish it to, but the reality that is the fact that the bond has lost its intended value. This came as a response to the opinion that Dr. Mangudya is defending the bond since he promised to evacuate office of the governor if the bond fails. Is Dr. Mangudya protecting the promise he made to the citizens of this beautiful nation? Finally, on the issue of government living beyond its means, let's wait for the budget as prepared by Professor Mthuli before we comment. Until next time, thank you for tuning with Spider Talks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notifications for similar news on current affairs in Zimbabwe.